What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Chris Raybon. This is our NFL Week 10 betting preview. We're going to talk sides, totals, props, Moneyline, dogs, anytime touchdowns, and of course, we will build our Sunday six-pack of Against the Spread bets with the help of my co-host, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stucky. Stuck, what's going on? You continue to have an excellent year. I thought I was going to do a little better than I did, but just lost that over for the pod with the ridiculous fourth quarter, the under, excuse me, with the ridiculous fourth quarter for the Raiders game. But how you feeling heading into Week 10?
Good. Should have been a clean sweep again, but CJ Stroud got hurt. Offensive lineman got hurt. They couldn't punch it in from the one. So that was unfortunate to lose that bet because it looked like they were going to run away with it early.
Yeah.
So that was unfortunate, but that's what happens. Sometimes your quarterback gets hurt. Obviously, if I knew it was Davis Mills, I wouldn't have bet them money line against the Broncos, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's a good week, but who cares? We're on to next. Let's get to week 10.
Any thoughts on the Thursday night football game before we jump into the six-pack? You got the Broncos hosting the Raiders, who were just very weird last week with their, like, they just benched all their rookie receivers and just kind of like, it was like they're in must-win mode or something, but it's like, no, you're not good. So I don't know what to think of the Raiders. Any thoughts on this matchup in Denver?
I mean, the Broncos are probably the luckiest team in the NFL. I mean, if you think about their wins over the last month, like they beat Davis Mills, they beat the Jets by two in London when they had negative 10 passing yards. They had a crazy comeback against Jackson Dart when they were getting blown out at home. Crazy comeback against the Eagles. Like this team is just running so good in fourth quarters and who they're getting, and when the injuries happen on other teams. I mean, Bo Nix has been bad, except for like a couple of fourth quarter drives. Like all of his EPAs against two teams. It's like against the Bengals and the Cowboys, the two worst defenses in the league. And there's no Surtain. The defense is certainly different without him. We saw that early with Stroud in there. The Texans were moving the ball. I, I don't know. I mean, the problem is looks good against horrific defenses. The Raiders have a horrific defense. They blew them out twice last year, won by double digits in both meetings. And this is a horrendous spot. So I think the number's too high, but I don't know exactly how to quantify the spot. The Raiders are on short week after OT, and they played a full OT game, and their defense was on the field the entire second half, the entire overtime, and they wore down. Now they got to go to altitude on a short week on a Thursday. It's only happened one other time. Team got blown out. Teams in this spot, short week after OT game, playing on Thursday or Friday, 5-25 against the spread. 5-25. So it's a nightmare spot. The Raiders without Miller and their offensive line issues against that Denver pass rush could be problematic as well. So I don't know. Numbers, I would say if it gets to 10, I'm going to have to play the Raiders. Hopefully it doesn't. And this is probably a pass.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just I think there's more going on with this Raider team that I can't really quantify because it's coaching wise behind the scenes, but I'm really confused with what they're doing, and I don't know how much Brock Bowers makes an impact in this matchup versus the last one where it was kind of just a lot more set up for him. This could be a tougher matchup. Surtain doesn't factor in as much with that, and you traded Myers, so. Yeah, this is a team that had 3 first downs a few weeks ago. Yeah, pass for me. But let's get into the Week 10 Sunday six-pack. You're up 35-22. Still got some work to do. You've just been, I mean, no breaks all year pretty much. And you've been hitting the money line dogs, the touchdowns. So good stuff. You're up first. Where are you going for Week 10?
Yeah, I actually think it's 35-21. I gave you a point for the total.
Oh.
I thought you hit your total, but
No. That was the
the 43 points in the fourth quarter and overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got fortunate with my total with the Chargers, the Titans scoring a couple non-offensive touchdowns.
Yeah, DK like a week late or 2 weeks late.
Yeah. Yeah, of course DK scored.
The first touchdown too, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then we couldn't hit our touchdown parlay. I got mine in, but then Kraft got hurt,
Hmm.
which was
And
unfortunate.
Fitzpatrick, I had Fitzpatrick too, and he had like the perfect opportunity, but of course he
Yeah, I
just
was thinking of you. I was rooting for you after Kraft went down.
Ugh.
Am I up first?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, for my
Right.
first pick of the Week 10 Sunday six pack, we're getting ugly. I'm going with the Washington Commanders plus 8.5 at home against the Detroit Lions. I listen, the Commanders are horrendous. I get it. They've lost four straight. They've been blown out in three straight. But I can't get to this number in any world. So I was anticipating this number to be like 3.5, and then obviously Daniels gets hurt, probably out for the year. This is assuming the difference between Daniels and Mariota is like 6 points. No, I mean I have it at like three. I mean Daniels has not been playing great this year. I mean if you just look at PFF grade, he's like a 10th or 11th. Mariota's eighth. You look at EPA plus completion percentage over expectation. Mariota's 21st this year. Daniels is 23rd. Over the past two seasons, among quarterbacks with at least 150 snaps, Mariota's eighth in that department. Daniels is 14th. Mariota has a higher success rate, higher completion percentage, more air yards, same exact adjusted EPA per play. Now, I'm not saying Mariota's better than Daniels. I'm just saying this isn't, this line is like the Rams coming to Baltimore and facing Cooper Rush with a JV defense. Mariota is a serviceable backup, where I think the drop off to this version of Daniels, what we've seen this year, that hasn't been in rhythm with his receivers, is only like 3 points. So I'm getting to like 6.5, 6, 7. So obviously anything over a touchdown, I'm willing to bet. Now you could say Washington's defensive injuries, McLaurin, all those are fair points. Now Lattimore being out, I don't care. He's
Yeah,
completely
he's good
washed.
bad. He might be better without probably not,
Yeah,
but
they might have better options. Luvu's going to play. He got his suspension repealed. Um, there's some other injuries, but like the Washington defense has been so bad, I don't like none of these losses are huge. They still aren't able to generate consistent pressure off the edge due to injuries. That's a problem here, but they can get pressure up the middle, and that can be problematic for Goff, who by the way is going to be outdoors here. Could be some wind conditions, probably very helpful to Washington, slowing down that Lions offense, the field conditions. And this, people aren't talking enough about how broken the Lions offense is. Since October 1st, and they faced the Bengals over that stretch. 24th in success rate, 17th EPA per play, 29th in rush success rate. Is number one over that stretch? Bears. So I think that's two things. They missed Ben Johnson and the offensive line. The offensive line is significantly worse than last year, as we thought it might be in the interior. And now there are significant injuries. So, they downgraded the drop off from Ragnow to Glasgow is enormous at center. And now you lost Mahogany at guard. It's not great, but your backup now, I was sick at, not good. Your tackles both might miss. Decker and Sewell. Decker has not been the same. He's just been banged up all year. And Sewell is one of the top two or three tackles in all football. They don't think that either are going to practice this week. We don't know if either are going to go. Sewell's probably more likely than Decker, but if they both can't go, I mean Skipper didn't even practice that. I don't even know what
yeah.
tackles they have. They have like Manu, who they had to start earlier this year, is on IR. They have like Sorsdale and Jones. They're both on IR. Like if they can't go, I don't even know who the tackles are. So and the Washington has some interior. They have some guys that can get some interior pressure on Goff. They're probably going to bring some pressure up there. They saw the formula that the Vikings used last week to just expose that beat up offensive line. Assuming we're going to see some similar stuff there, and this is still a functional Washington offensive line. It's still a decent run game. They're seventh in rush success rate. Mariota can still move. The Lions run D this year 17th in success rate. So I think Washington, what they're going to do here, McLaurin's not going to play. McCaffrey on IR. I think they're going to go like more 12 personnel, heavy, run the ball, use Mariota's legs, ball control, and I think they can move it that way against this Lions defense, who by the way also isn't fully healthy in the secondary. So like this isn't nowhere close to a fully healthy Lions team. The offensive line is a mess. The secondary is still beat up. So I just can't get over a touchdown here. And for what it's worth, dogs of three or more on a current losing streak with an average cover margin of more than negative 2 touchdowns over their past 4 games. So think about that. Teams lost a bunch in a row. Over the last 4 games, their average cover margin is negative 14 and a half or more. That means they haven't been close. No one wants to bet this. No one wants to come near this team. So you're usually getting some value. Those teams, 57, 34, and 3 against the spread, 63%, covering by about 2.5 points per game. I think that this line is like 1.5, 2 points too high. So I'm gonna hold my nose here, take the Commanders against the Lions. This Lions offense is not firing on all cylinders. And think about it. I could also give you a ton of Dan Campbell stats. I think he's 12-0 against the spread after losses. I could have done the same last week off the bye at home. This is not the same Lions team right now due to the injuries, due to the state of the offensive line. I mean, losing at home to JJ McCarthy,
Who
red
threw for
flag.
like 140 yards too.
Yeah, red flag. So I mean the Lions. I mean, if you look back, their most impressive performances this year. It's like against the beat up Bucks team at home when Baker Mayfield was completely off. They went into Baltimore when Baltimore's defense was in shambles. Uh, but this is not the same Lions team. Commanders are a mess. I get it, but I'm getting 8.5 at home. So give me Washington.
Yeah, I mean that was just it left a bad taste in my mouth last week betting Washington. I thought they would show up more than they did against Darnold. And at one point, I think Darnold was averaging 17.6 yards per pass attempt. He was like 13 of 13. I don't think I've ever seen a higher
His
YPN
EPA per
box
play in the
score.
first half was
Perfect.
astronomical.
Yeah, it was just absurd. So at some point these teams, we talk about these trends all the time. These teams that get blown out at some point, they tend to it tends to overcorrect. Now, this could be the week. The Lions might have no offensive linemen and their defense is still shaky, even though the numbers tend to be good and they're outdoors and it's golf. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't mind
outdoor
that play.
golf with no offensive line. It's going to be a pillow fight up front. Who can win, the Washington defensive line or the Detroit backup, the Washington backups or the Detroit backups? But yeah, I just think it's too high. So I'll take it. This is like assuming that Mariota is like Rush, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Mariota, he's
I mean, think about
in.
it. Wouldn't you take Seattle over Detroit right now? Like, given the state of their teams, offensive line
Yes.
injuries, you take Seattle, close three, two. What was it? 2.5, expensive 2.5, three last week.
Yeah, I think it was three. I think it definitely stayed at three.
Three. And now we're at 8.5 without Mariota. And it's a beat. And I would clearly take this is assuming the Lions, state of the Lions right now are a top 3 team. And I do not think that's the case right now, given their injuries. Where are you going?
I mean, we're gonna keep it ugly. So for my first pick, the second overall of the week 10 pack, I'm going with the Houston Texans plus 1.5 at home against the Jaguars. CJ Stroud, we knew he was gonna miss. There is a 9-day median between concussion in the new protocol. So most guys are gonna miss in that spot. So I was
What do you got? Like
projecting.
10% chance?
Yeah, it's kind of at the tails. So I was projecting the Texans to have Davis Mills at quarterback the entire time, and I think this number is just getting out of hand now. At first I was like, okay, it's gonna be like a pick 'em. Now the
He
Jaguars
just
are
got officially
favored.
ruled out 1 second
Yeah,
ago, for what it's worth.
yeah, I saw. Yeah, we knew that. So listen, it's kind of what you're saying. Like Davis Mills is not good, but look at the other side of this matchup, and Jacoby Myers is not just gonna fix the Jaguars offense. First of all, Jacoby Myers has been the most like average receiver, not making really a ton of impact, even though he's a high volume guy. He just happened to be a high volume guy in a bad team. But if you look at his numbers and just watch him play, like I don't think he's gonna add another element to this offense. Now, Travis Hunter on IR. Brian Thomas is banged up. Diami Brown is banged up. Trevor Lawrence just continues to sink in the advanced metrics. Like now, in a EPA per play completion percentage over expected composite, Trevor Lawrence is bottom three. He's ahead of only Cam Ward and Dylan Gabriel. That's where we're at. So now you're telling me the Jags are supposed to be a road favorite here. The real difference in this game is going to be the defense. It's going to be the defense for Houston because the Jaguars' offense with Lawrence is no guarantee, especially with all these guys banged up, to be significantly better than the Texans at home with Davis Mills. Their receiving core should be healthy. Nico should be in there. And this Jags team is, adjusted sack rate. They're terrible. Like they a lot of turnover luck early in the year, and Mills could give you one of those, but this Jags defense is nothing special. They're not getting a ton of pressure. Houston's at home where they always play better. The skill players are still there. They'll have time to prepare for a Stroud absence. And the Jaguars are banged up on offense too, and their offensive numbers are equally terrible as a Davis Mills led offense could be. So I still make Houston a favorite. I just think Jacksonville, I don't know how much Myers is going to be able to, contribute here. We'll see. They might need him to, but Strange is still on IR. I mean, this team is just a little more decimated than I think people think. And the defense was never as good as people think. So I just don't know how much Liam Cohen's going to be able to do in this spot when Houston's defense has been so dominant to the point where, Houston's the better team in like net EPA per play. That's offense and defense, DVOA, and they're at home. So yeah, Stroud is worth probably have it around a little over a field goal, but this Jags team trending down for me. So give me Houston plus now, plus 1.5. It might you think it gets to like above, you think it gets to 3? Nah, right?
No.
Yeah, it's got it. I mean,
so a couple things. I kind of agree with you. I mean, Jags coming off an OT game, second straight road game, right? Like, that's not ideal either. And Jordan Lewis, who's important, didn't practice today. He's banged up. Uh, and he's been very good for them. Devin Lloyd, banged up. Ezra Cleveland didn't practice today. Brian Thomas didn't practice today. Hunter Long, their backup tight end, didn't practice today.
yeah, the offense is decimated.
Yeah. So, and then I don't know how they consistently move the ball here. Um, the one thing that I'm worried about is also Devin Lloyd. He's worth, I don't know his status, but he's a little banged up. Um, the one thing I'm worried about here with the Texans is I mean, they're just figure out how to sneak the ball. They did it 2 weeks ago against the Niners. They were doing the tush push and they didn't do it last week, but their goal line.
British Brooks. Like, why is British Brooks getting carries and at the goal line?
Their goal line is unbelievable. But Titus Howard has a concussion. And the Texans have fixed some of their offensive line issues in protection. Like last week, the Broncos had the second lowest pressure rate of the year. And part of that has to do with they're using more 6 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Using more jumbo. So if Howard can't go, I mean, it's tough because then you're probably starting Blake Fisher, who's really bad. And I don't know. Do you use Trent Brown? Is Trent Brown even played this year? I think he's still on the roster. That's what concerns me. Blake Fisher cannot pass protect at all. And the Jags do have some good edge rushers. So that worries me a bit. But I do think that ultimately the Texans defense probably gets this done. My approach to this game, though, I haven't bet it yet. I don't know if I maybe just want to bet the Jags team total under or or tease if this like at 1.5, teasing the Texans, I think makes a ton of sense. Maybe pair it with like the Jets, which I'll get to in a bit. So yeah, I don't hate your look here.
I mean, the only thing I would say about the Jags team total under is what would cause Houston to probably lose this game, probably giving up a defensive touchdown or something. So I feel like it kind of just goes back to just taking Houston because like if the
but there's a world where like the Texans like there's a world where the Texans lose like 17-14 if they throw pick 6. I mean, they lost 18-15 last week.
Yeah, I mean, that's your bad taste, but I mean, the Texans at home, you know, Mills or not. I mean, this Trevor Lawrence offense to me is just not better
Like,
right
what do you
now.
think the Texans' ceiling is here? Like, it's probably like 20 to 23 points.
But what's the Jaguars' offense ceiling?
I
The
know
same
that's what I'm
thing.
saying though, but they're going to be favored. So like, um,
Yeah, it's fair. That's a fair point.
it's just what I'm thinking. So, but I don't mind your look here.
Where are you going?
It's either Texans or nothing. But for my second pick and the third overall of the Week 10 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals plus 6.5 at the Seattle Seahawks. Have not bet this yet. Doesn't matter for the contest because pushes or losses. Wait on a seven. Even if it's a plus seven minus 120, that's what I'm doing. If it never pops, I'm still playing the Cardinals plus 6.5. I think the Cardinals are the most underrated team in the NFL right now, even after what they did in Dallas, completely shutting down that Dallas offense, which goes off every time they play at home. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, the offense is better with Brissett. I mean, since he took over in week six, 11th in EPA per play, 19th or ninth in success rate, 11th in rush EPA, 12th in dropback EPA. And by the way, weeks 1 through 5, they were worse in all those stats. I mean, they were 23rd in success rate compared to ninth with Brissett, 20th in rush EPA over the first 5 weeks, 11th since, and that's without Murray's legs and without their backs. The whole offense is a much smoother operation. I mean, Marvin Harrison now looks good. He's involved in the offense, and everything is better with Brissett. He has the lowest turnover worthy play rate in the league. He doesn't take the bad sacks. And by the way, that has what's killed Kyler Murray against the Seahawks team. The Seahawks have owned the Cardinals under McDonald because they own Kyler Murray. Own him. He can do nothing against them. Over the past 3 games, over the past 2 seasons, he's averaging about 6 yards per attempt. He has 5 interceptions and 13 sacks. Just killer
So
negative
just
plays.
so that's just Kyler Murray though. That's just
I
normal
know,
Kyler.
but but it's even worse. I mean, it's been even
I
worse
know,
against
I
Seattle.
know.
So the Arizona's changed some of its offense, some of the play action usage, and Brissett just has a better command of this offense right now. There's a reason they just told Murray to go away. Don't think that has anything to do with his injury. And then the defense. The Cardinals defense is, I think, one of the most underappreciated units in the league. And by the way, in the first matchup, the Cardinals, in Cardinal fashion, lost 23-20. They held the Seattle offense down as well as anyone we've seen all year.
JSN had like no catches through 3 quarters or something like, or two and a half
Yep.
quarters, like it was, or one catch, something like that. Yeah,
And Will Johnson and Garrett Williams didn't even play in that game. They were without all their corners. And here's the thing. Here's what Seattle is doing right now. And I'm a believer in Seattle. I have them as a top five team, top five power rated team right now. Also, Walter Nolan made his debut. He was amazing. Gives them enough more juice on the defensive line. And Ernest Jones might miss for Seattle. And that's a big
that's
loss if
big.
he
Yeah.
misses, especially against the run and like that. Seattle doesn't have depth there. So he like that could be a big loss. Um, so this defense, which will have Will Johnson, has been one of the best corners in the NFL this year as a rookie. Garrett Williams will be back. Walter Nolan in there. So this defense just has many more pieces than it does. But with all their three high safety looks, they don't blitz. They don't take the bait. So like Sam Darnold has been arguably the best quarterback. I think you could say that he's been the best quarterback in the
Yeah.
NFL this year, and he's been unbelievable. He's been amazing, and he's been incredible against the blitz. Well, the Cardinals don't blitz. Been incredible on play action. Cardinals are pretty good in that department, and he's been awesome with explosive passes. Well, Arizona's elite in that aspect in preventing explosive plays. They're going to keep everything in front of them, and they're not going to blitz. And here's the thing: what Seattle is doing, they can't really run the ball efficiently, but they do it because it sets up everything. They go heavy a lot, and it sets up all the play action. It sets up all the deep shots. And JSN's already been the best receiver. But Arizona's defense, and everyone's been biting for it, and they're playing. Arizona's defense won't. They can play the run here without bringing safeties down, without compromising their back end. So I think that they're set up to actually contain this Seattle offense. So I think we're at the very peak of the Seahawks in the market. Could be wrong, but now that they're in the top five, and I still think Arizona is undervalued. And by the way, this Arizona team, I mean, they've lost 3 games at the buzzer. They have not lost by more than 4 all year. And 2 of those were with Brissett at Indianapolis and against the Packers. It's not like Brissett hasn't played anybody. And this team will be in every game. So, and Seattle, for whatever reason, under McDonald, they just go on the road and destroy everyone, but they haven't been great against the number at home. Divisional game, home field isn't as much. So, yeah, I like Arizona here to hold this explosive Seattle offense in check and keep it close enough with an improved offense with Brissett at the helm and cover this number. But it's at 6.5. Wait, see if you can get a 7, but I'll be on it regardless. So give me Arizona.
Yeah, I think Seattle. I mean, I thought the peak of the market was last week, and it's silly me. But I did like the move they made for Shaheed. Familiar with the offense, that's going to help. And
But
Darnold
how
has been
much different is
amazing.
Shaheed than Horton, though? Like, did you probably like?
It's better than having to rely on Cup. Like now they have
Yeah, but they
juice
don't use a
everywhere.
ton of. You think they're going to use more 11 personnel now? That kind of like it defeats how effective their offense has been.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes and no, because I was like part of my cap coming into that Commanders game was okay. The Commanders, defense not good, but they do man up, play some single high. You tend to need to beat that with, more wide receiver centric schemes. And Seattle just wasn't in a position to do that last week with everyone hurt. So it's a good move for them going forward. Does it make a big impact in this game? Maybe, maybe not. But I agree with Arizona. I mean, Arizona is just they're gonna just kind of sit back in.
Three eye safeties.
Yeah. And that's the kind, that's what you need to do. Just slow Seattle down, drag things out, longer drives, more likely Darnold makes some mistakes. Kind of like, the Colts. Like you gotta just chill out and just let Daniel Jones screw up. You can't be over aggressive. So I think the good spot for Arizona. Oh, like short week, but uh they're a lot better with Brissett. Like McBride scores touchdowns. Harrison, like you said, is present. They didn't. I don't think they
Engaged.
targeted Zay Jones. Yeah, I don't think they targeted Zay Jones, which good. So yeah, I think this team is just getting a lot smarter, and the quarterback has a lot. Dictates that to a large extent. And Brissett ran for a touchdown last week. So like, what is he giving? What is Kyler giving you at this point that Brissett can't? All right. Before we move on, there's a quick and easy way for you to tail us and our bets. Just sign up for Action Pro. You'll get instant notifications when any Action Network expert tracks a bet, whether that's me, Stuck, Brandon Anderson, Sean Kerner. You want to get those right away. Plus, you can access our pro projections powered by Sean Kerner and our predictive analytics team and a ton of other benefits as well. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro and get $20 off the annual subscription price with promo code POD20. That's POD20. So don't miss out on the best bets at the best prices. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use promo code POD20 to get 20 off a year of Action Pro. The rest of our Sunday six pack is coming up, but first, I'll throw it to myself for a quick word from our sponsor. The Action Network podcast is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, and in partnership with DraftKings, Action Network podcast listeners get a great offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, and 3 months of NBA League Pass. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on star player props and in-progress games right as they happen. To get started, use promo code Action Network when signing up with DraftKings. That's code Action Network when signing up with DraftKings for 3 months of NBA League Pass and $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours. All right. For my second pick, the fourth overall of the Week 10 Sunday six pack, I am rolling with San Francisco 49ers plus 4.5 at home against the Rams. Now, the Rams are great. They're right there. Them and Seattle, I think, are the cream of the crop right now in the NFC. Probably better than the Lions and the Eagles, who everyone I think has up there. But number one, this is always going to be a Niner spot for me. Home dog. First of all, 4.5. I mean, this number was just 3.5. It's continuing to grow. They played early. Now, the worst thing about this is that they played earlier in the season, and the Niners escaped with that win after Kyron fumbled. And, so this is a revenge spot for the Rams. But Shanahan tends to have McVay McVay's number in these spots. The Niners defense is still decimated, but I think it's going to be Mac Jones again. But either way, you might get Pearsall back finally this week. I don't know. He might be a figment of our imagination. But for the Rams, Puka Nacua could be banged up. He seems to be getting knocked out of every game at this point. He still puts up, top 10 numbers. But I just think this coaching matchup is kind of the equalizer here. And now you're getting, 4.5 at home for this Niners team. I just think this is more of a, two inside of a field goal type of situation here. If you look at the Shanahan McVay matchup, money line, Shanahan has a 37% ROI against McVay, a 61% straight up winning percentage. So if you had just blindly bet every one of these spots on the money line, you would be making a killing. Now, same record spread in money line, so I'll probably have some money line here too. McVay off a multi-game winning streak. This Rams team could come back down to earth a little. 17-28 against the spread, just 38%. We'll see what happens with the kicker, but remember, road game outdoors in San Francisco, so that kicker could come into play. And if for some reason Cardi isn't the kicker, then then you lose some of the kickoff stuff that he does well. But McVay's kind of getting fed up with the field goals. So either way, I think that works in the Niners' favor. And this is just a coaching matchup game for me. 4.5. I think this number is too big. I can't get there. I don't expect the Rams. I think the Rams, this might be a field goal type of game for the Rams. So give me anything over a field goal. 49ers.
I'll have more on this game later, but I will say since 2019, these teams have faced each other 14 times, including the playoffs. Underdog 13-1 against the spread.
Ridiculous.
10 out of 14 dog won outright. All right. I'll have more on this game later, as I said. For my third pick and the fifth overall of the Week 10 Sunday six pack, I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens first half -2.5 at the Minnesota Vikings. Going back to over-reliable here. I mean, I can give you the stats. Harbaugh extra prep first half against the spread, 62%, 12-5 against the spread on the road in the first half, 10-3 against the spread as a road favorite in the first half with extra prep, 77%, covering by a field goal per game, which is insane. And I didn't even get to Lamar, who's the GOAT in the first half, 61, 36, and 2 against the spread, 63%, covering by a field goal per game. As a favorite, 53, 30, and 2, covering by over a field goal per game, which is insane. As a favorite, covering by over a field goal per game. How about it as a road favorite? 28, 10, and 1 against the spread, 74%, covering by 5 points per game. Extra time for Lamar to prep, extra time for Harbaugh. Extra time for Lamar to heal up, get even healthier. I think his mobility will be better here. The offense is 100% healthy. They can run how they ran last year. All the personnel groupings that they want to run. This offense now is at full strength. And by the way, the defense now is as healthy as it's going to be all year. The defensive line, still the biggest question mark on the team. I wish they added someone. They added Draymond Jones. But the Vikings aren't really an efficient rushing attack. They are, I think they're bottom 10 EPA per rush success rate.
Jones is banged up too.
Yep, Jones banged up. So I don't think they can fully take advantage. And the Ravens, in order to generate pressure, they're blitzing more. McCarthy has looked lost against the blitz so far. But Lamar, against these NFC teams early on in games, they're usually well prepared. And it just takes some time for these teams, especially when they see Lamar for the first time, to adjust. And what do the Vikings like to do? They like the blitz. Lamar, you don't want to blitz Lamar. This year against the blitz, which he's seen at the seventh highest rate, which is insane. I don't know why teams are blitzing that high. He has a 79% completion percentage, which is the highest in the NFL by far. I think the next is like 72. 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. And with a 79% completion percentage, he has the second highest yards per attempt and the fourth highest ADOT. Last year, he ripped apart the blitz as well. Ravens also number one in explosive run percentage. Vikings struggle in that department. So yeah, I think Ravens' sense of urgency, everything I'm hearing around the team is good. Just ride with Lamar in the first half. Look, I thought McCarthy made some nice throws last week, but didn't have to do much. I think that was more about Goff, the offensive line injuries, not being able to handle the blitz, and uh, this Vikings offense, I think, is still going to be limited. Ravens trending up on both sides of the ball. I like the Ravens to jump out here.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably the best Ravens handicapper I know, period. So I always trust you with the Ravens. They're kind of a hard team to bet because they're always favored by so much. But yeah, Lamar against NFC. And I was on the Vikings last week and it
Same. I joined you.
it started out well, but yeah, McCarthy wasn't as impressive as maybe the final score would have looked if you just didn't really see the game. I mean, a lot of it was Vikings were just healthier last week, and now I think it's getting a little excessive because the Vikings were where they get to like 9.5 at last week, and now they're sitting here. I know they're at home, but still, talking about I saw the number get down to 3.5 earlier today, and like this this Ravens team, to your point, offensively as healthy as they've been all year, and that's significant because this is a team that runs so many different heavy personnel groupings. It's not like most teams are just 1-1 on pass downs, and whatever their go-to is on early downs heavy, like one like two tight ends for most teams. Some teams do a fullback, but the Ravens mix it up, and I think they have the element of Lamar running, so I think that helps Henry. You can't blitz Lamar, so that just takes a whole like it's and you're going from statue Goff to the speed of Lamar in 1 week. So yeah, it's just a tough spot, and we've seen this Vikings team just unravel on both sides of the ball at different points. So yeah, I think it makes sense for the Ravens to get it done here.
Yeah, I think extra prep helps too because I do remember I think Lamar's faced Flores twice. Once, I think once they won 59-10, but there was a short week game when
Yeah.
Flores on a Thursday night in Miami. Do you remember this? And Lamar couldn't do
Yes,
anything
can do not. Yeah, yeah.
against the blitz on a short week. They blitzed they ran the same blitz 37 times in the game.
Who
The Vikings.
who is the? I remember I'm seeing an image of I think it was a Dolphin player like flipped up in the air and did like the craziest, like just landed on his head, like but didn't get in the end zone. Do you remember who that was? It was
Oh
that same
yeah.
game.
I forget who
Oh,
that was. I remember. But yeah, they blitzed like a million
yeah,
times. And
yeah.
so but I think having the extra prep here, and generally over the past couple of years, especially as his career's gone on, Lamar is like basically unblitzable. So yeah, I like the Ravens to get a lead here. Where are you going for the final pick?
For my third pick, final pick, and the final pick of the Week 10 Sunday six pack, going with the New York Football Giants plus 4.5 at the Chicago Bears. Now, number one, this is a rare A-rated luck rankings game. The Giants have been one of the most unlucky teams this season. Now, it looks like they're just horrible with Jackson Dart, but if you peek under the hood, they're about 0.04 EPA per play
I think Dart's been
better.
good.
Yeah, I do too. But it hasn't always shown up in the final scores. So if you look at the offense compared to their season long numbers, they're about 0.04 EPA per play better, which that essentially takes this from what would be Bears favored by what they are to more inside a field goal. And I think this Bears team, it's hard to fully handicap them, especially in a spot like this against the Giants, because the schedules. I mean, the Bears' schedule this year, they face one of the easiest, third easiest according to DVOA. Only New England and Buffalo have faced easier schedules. And you look at the Bears, and they needed a second touchdown from a guy who entered the game essentially as their number 2 tight end to win that game. Their defense is not good. The Giants defense is not good either, but that's priced in 4.5. Like now you're talking about over a field goal, over a hook even. And this Bears defense, what is it? I mean,
It's atrocious.
everyone, yeah, and everyone wants to kind of knock the Giants defense. It's not good, but guys have been missing. Maybe we'll get some guys back this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Like, who's
Yeah,
also their O line, like, are Schmitz, Illuminor. I know that they're not great, but
and
they
Dart
got
helps it. Yeah,
yeah, he helps there. But like Holland, Flott,
uh, yeah, like all like the whole secondary's been
Adebo,
out. Yeah,
are they gonna play? That's the major
there's a
question.
chance. I mean, I'm just kind of banking on it's early in the week. I want to play this number now because I make this number. I mean, my delta's like closing in on a field goal here. I just think these are two bad teams with bad defenses, and I think Caleb Williams is more likely to make a costly mistake than even Dart in this spot. And the Bears, I mean, they're not super healthy on defense. I know they made a trade, but they lost their Gordon. They like this is just a defense that got shredded by Joe Flacco, who
Yeah,
was
they're not the
banged
same
up
without
coming
Gordon and
in.
Johnson. Like that's
Yeah,
what's killed them.
and that's
And they can't get a pass rush.
they can't get a pass rush. Giants have Slayton back, which usually doesn't is not as a non-factor, but I mean they're just throwing everything at the wall now at receiver, and I think it's actually benefiting them because now they're at the point where they don't play Hyatt 80% of the time when they need a third receiver. Like we saw Shevsky make a play last week. They were mixing in Bo Collins, more Bellinger. If he's back, I don't think he is, but they Fedoni, that number 2 tight end, he can do some things. So I think the Giants are trending up offensively. I think they've just been super unlucky with Jackson Dart, who has been excellent compared to Russell Wilson. I mean, when you're adding close to like 0.05 EPA per play, that could significantly change an offense over the course of 60 plays. And the reason Dart has so much impact is because he's running the ball. Nice call on the touchdown last week, but there's just nothing. I don't expect this Bears defense to get stops, and the Giants still do have a pass rush here. The Bears, we know what they're going to do. They're probably going to go run heavy, and they'll
I mean, they're
have
gonna
some
run all
success.
over New York.
Yeah, they'll have success doing it. But
This is the best rushing offense over the past month versus the worst rushing defense in the league. So they're gonna have success running. But I do think the Giants can keep up. But
yeah,
so like, and I think this line at 4.5 has gotten a little too high because the Bears defense, it's been so turnover reliant, and without that, they can't stop anything. For what it's worth, Schmitz didn't practice, Luminor didn't practice. Gano, that's another thing I'm worried about with the Giants. Like, who's gonna be kicking? Uh, Adebo was on the side with trainers. Bellinger, Flott, and Holland were participating in the brief open
oh,
portion.
that's really good. If
So, but
I can just
Flott's a
get like,
concussion. So,
yeah, he's probably missing. But if I can get like a Holland and a Bellinger is actually big for their offense because that just gives them another option now and you have Slayton back. So like Dart, I think he knows where to go with the ball. He knows when to scramble. Hopefully he just doesn't throw the ball on the ground like he did against the Saints a few weeks ago. But I've been impressed with Dart, and if you like a lot of the metrics for the Bears. I mean, how good? Because look at I didn't even mention the Giants schedule because the Bears, we know they faced the Raiders and they faced the Bengals and they faced all these Commanders, all these atrocious defenses. Giants are one, but probably a little better, especially if they get a couple of guys back. But Jackson Dart is number 12 in adjusted EPA per play. Caleb Williams is number 21. And that's with like that, all these terrible defenses, So facing all these terrible defenses. And the Giants have faced the Niners, who, yeah, they're bad, but Eagles, Broncos, like the Giants have faced some formidable just opponents, period. So I think that's kind of the equalizer for me is that there could be some unrealized schedule adjustment. Like it's always tricky. But we are at the point in the season where we know the teams that are bad, and they happen to be all the teams that the Bears have faced. I mean, the Raiders, the Commanders, the Bengals. It's just like a comedy of terrible, terrible defenses. So I could see the Bears kind of struggling a little bit here. And now, the Giants, what, like, if they get guys in the secondary back at all, do they play more aggressive? Like, do they try to devote more resources to the run? Because we saw Roma Dunze could go missing. Uh, so, and how much, what are the Bears going to do with Menanjai versus Swift? Like, is it just his backfield now? Because he looked great, but they're just, for me, I think this might be the top of the market. It sounds crazy, but this Bears team that I think is just still a bottom third team, favored by 4.5 against a similar team. Give me the Giants. And A-rated luck game, that usually means a cover rate over at or over 60% historically. So love
Hopefully you don't get one of the two annual Giants kicker.
Oh my God.
Because Gano didn't practice today. I don't even know who they would sign.
Just not the what is it, the international guy?
He got
Just
cut. Yeah, he's not.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you know how Britt
They
signed him
can't
back to
bring
the
him
practice.
back.
They
No
cannot.
way.
Don't they have young old ho? Don't they have old ho?
I mean, I don't know what he might be on the practice squad. Maybe he'll be kicking.
Anyone, like, just make sure if Gano has any type of questionable, just elevate a second kicker, because it's always ridiculous how, like, it's happened like 3 or 4 times, and yeah, that it would be terrible. But 4.5, I mean, this is probably just going to come down to Bears.
Who has the ball?
Yeah, like, what they giving Bears 4.5 because they won by 5 last week? Like, it's very, Bears should have got. The Bears should have lost that game, but I digress. Let's see what we got. I know it's going to be ugly here. We got Jackson Dart, Mac Jones, or a turf-toed Brock Purdy, Davis Mills, Jacoby Brissett,
Mariota,
and
I got Lamar at least.
Yeah, like but that's kind of how we do on the 6-pack.
Yeah,
like five shaky. Dart has a good futures, but 5 shaky and 1 elite. That's how we do it. So that was our week 10 Sunday 6-pack. If you'd like to tail some of these picks, just look for the quick slip link in the podcast and video description, and make sure to sign up for Action Pro for instant notifications when all of our bets are tracked. Now it's time for our favorite totals. I'll start us off here, Stuck, since you started us on the 6-pack. I'm going to go with the Patriots Bucks over 48.5. Some 48s out there, but it doesn't matter for the contest. But see if you can get the clean 48. But either way, I think this should be a high scoring game for a couple of reasons. Number one, yes, these defenses have made plays at certain times, but this does not set up as a running type of game.
Yeah, this is 2 pass funnel Ds.
2 pass funnel Ds and 2 passers that can move around in the pocket, that tend to just have some of the best, like, inexplicable luck when they let it rip. So
should be a lot of explosive passing plays.
A lot of explosive passing, because you're going to get blitzes, which take guys out of coverage on both sides. You're going to get single high coverages, especially from the Patriots, probably in this spot. That's what we want for points. And yeah, the Bucks are still banged up offensively. They're not going to be at peak form at receiver probably for the rest of the year, but they're coming off a bye. I thought they just keep churning guys out. It hasn't really mattered too much in terms of their production. Tez Johnson.
It hurts the run game, but
yeah,
you can't really run against the Patriots anyway.
Yeah, and the Patriots, because in the Lions matchup, you started to get worried, because it's like, okay, we think the Lions have a exploitable D, but they do rank highly in the advanced metrics, and they have some studs on that defense.
Baker was just off though too. Like, he missed a wide open touchdown. He was missing throws, and he was also dealing with some injuries. Like, so I think the bye week probably served him well.
Right, and so this Patriots defense, it's trending up a little bit. They're kind of making moves, and you figured Vrabel was going to kind of get the guys that he wants on the roster, but it's not a good defense. statistically against the pass. And that's all I really need here because it looks like Bucky Irving's still not. I mean, it's just unfortunate. It looks like he's still not going to be a go here.
Godwin
Uh,
too, probably not.
I mean, yeah, and that was kind of predictable even coming into the year. It just Godwin had like that wasn't a normal injury. I mean, it was a really rough rehab process for him. It just sounded like they weren't expecting him to be back, but you still have the bye. And remember, Mayfield's already done this. We already saw him throw touchdowns to Ryan Miller, Cam Johnson, Tez Johnson. I mean, who hasn't put a touchdown from Baker at wide receiver for the Bucks? I mean, it just doesn't matter. And then Abuka, really, I think is the key. Should be a lot healthier. Christian Gonzalez, I think he's gonna probably end up going because it wasn't a concussion. Initially, thought it was a concussion with him, which would have made the over even more attractive. But just give me two quarterbacks that can scramble around, two teams that are probably smart enough not to try to run it on the other. And the Patriots are coming off a game where they were able to run the ball, two games really where they were able to run the ball. You can't run on the Bucks, so I think that's a mirage. And the Bucks went super run heavy against the Saints. Now, this defense kind of dictates the opposite. So you could get here in the first half if things, if you get like a turnover or anything crazy in special teams. So give me the over 48 and a half Patriots and Bucks. Where are you going?
Yeah, don't mind that. Also, because of the injuries at wide receiver, Buck's been using more heavy personnel, and the Patriots have really, really struggled in pass defense against heavy personnel. Weather looks like it should be okay. Always got to check that
Yeah,
outdoor games in November. Um,
I mean, it's in Florida though, so that's
no, but
generally
I mean like storms and
yeah,
wind.
true.
Um, like it doesn't look like it's going to be bad. Yeah, wind's fine. Um, it does. I think Gonzalez is going to go for what it's worth.
Yeah.
All right, for my total, I'm going to go with the 49ers Rams over 49 and a half. Couple reasons here. I think that the Rams right now are the most overrated defense in the NFL. Like they're like number one in EPA per play. Like they're like look at a lot of the advanced metrics, they're like number one. Well, they played the Jags in London. They played the Saints last week with Shuck and whatever they were doing. They played the Ravens with Cooper Rush. Um, they played that beat up 49ers offense and they gave up
Lost.
26, lost in overtime. They played the Eagles and they let the Eagles come all the way back somehow, scoring like 28 points on them. But they also played the Titans. They played the Texans offense. Like their schedule, and they did play the Colts, and the Colts dropped the ball at the end zone, or they probably would have gotten to the 30s. So this this defense, I think, is extremely overrated, and I just don't think we know how bad this 49ers defense might be with all the injuries. I mean, they just lose more guys every week. I mean, now you're talking like we already talked about Bosa and Warner, but now you got guys like Gross Matos and
Yeah, Walker and
Williams and like it's insane. So and by the way, this 49ers shell unit defense, which got carved up by Houston, they also let the Giants get 24. But this is not those offenses. This is the Rams offense with Nakua back, who's huge against their zones. And the Rams offense is arguably the best in the league at the moment. They're going to score here. I think the 49ers are going to score. And there's a couple other things like the 49ers are faster this year. They're passing more. Um, and the Rams are fast. The Rams are going to throw a lot. And the Rams
well,
also have the kicker issue.
the
Maybe
one thing about the Rams I was gonna say is, do you think they continue to go with the super high uptick in heavy? And because I think they were in 1-3 like 30% of the time last week, so that does make them a little slower, but they still have fast tight ends outside of Higby. But any thoughts on
yeah,
that?
I'm not even worried about the Rams. Like the Rams are going to score
Yeah,
like this, but the 49ers are not like your slow dead last that we've seen in the past. Um, and I think that they want to throw here. Now, a couple other things. The Rams kicker issues. I saw they signed me this today, but they
yep.
might be a little bit more aggressive on fourth downs. Additionally, last time Mac Jones just carved them up underneath. I would imagine they're gonna make some adjustments. So I think the 49ers will have some more opportunities to hit some explosive passing plays down the field. And I do think that this Rams secondary is still the weak point on their team by far. They just haven't really been tested. So yeah, I think that the like this can set up as like a easily like a 27-24 type of game. 30-27 wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, I think there's a lots of avenues for offense here. So give me 49ers Rams over.
Yeah, and I think something like the Niners uh defense is definitely not good. And I mean, they probably should have gave up more points than they even have. I mean, remember early in the year, I don't know, like their metrics, it's hard to kind of factor everything in because they just keep losing more and more guys, but they were playing in these like 16-13 type of games that are probably still, factoring into their totals. So yeah, I think this is another one that it could get over first half, early third quarter. Just two really good offensive coaches, and the Rams, well schemed defense, but you're right. I mean, this is not a defense where you're scared of it, especially when you didn't have Kittle in the first
Yeah.
matchup, if I remember correctly. And you also, I mean, now you're getting Jennings back into the flow of things. You're getting Jennings born. Like you're getting your top four guys, and that's really all that matters because then Juszczyk is going to play a lot. So whether it's Demarcus Robinson, I mean, Pearsall would obviously help with the explosives, but just having Kittle, McCaffrey, and then two respectable wide receivers for the other two spots in Jennings and Bourne, like that, you could do a lot with that, and they've been passing a ton over expected with Mac Jones. So
Yeah.
yeah, this could be a barn burner. And I will say Rams, if they continue to play more heavy personnel, probably makes them better in the red zone, right? Because
Yeah.
Tutu Atwell's on IR, and Whittington hasn't been a touchdown guy. So yeah, I think you can see a lot of points in this one. I like it. Bucks, Patriots over 48.5, and Niners Rams over 49.5. It's time for our money line underdog parlay. All right, Stuck. You've what are you 8-2 on the year with
Eight
these
and
money
two.
line
Yeah.
dog? 8-2. Got to count. Do you have the units by any chance? Because I'm sure that's
I
pretty
don't.
ridiculous.
Figure it out later.
But yeah, just outstanding stuff. So, tell us where you're at for this week.
Let's go with the New York Jets. I mean, it's Dylan Gabriel as a
I
road
hate it.
favorite.
I hate it. I
Uh,
hate it, and I agree at the same time. Like all week, I've been hoping that like the Jets would stay favored, and I could just back the Browns against like a Jet team that traded everyone, and then lo and behold, now the Browns are somehow like 4 points better than the Jets in a neutral field or something. Like it's ridiculous.
yeah, I mean, like if you like Dylan Gabriel, if you look at like success rate, he is the worst in the NFL by far. Um, it's like 34% success rate. So there's no Sauce Gardner, but who cares against? I mean, it's this. If there's one game where you can survive without Sauce Gardner, it's against the Browns passing attack outdoors in a rainstorm. Uh, Garrett Wilson practiced today. Fields did look better last game. Should have a little bit more confidence. I don't know. This game is just Dylan Gabriel's a road favorite. Give me, and the Browns defense isn't the same on the road. They never are. So yeah, give me the Jets.
It'd be like if like somebody's grandparents and great grandparents played a game of football. It's like, okay, you gotta still take the grandparents. They're old as fuck, but they're like the Jets. It's just two bad teams, and the Browns
They
defense
both
on the
want to
road.
lose too this game. They both will be better
Yeah.
off if they lose.
Man, but I was just I wish I mean it's not as much value if you're not getting the threes either way, but I was really hoping to like be able to bet on the against the Jets, like just knowing they were going to trade like everybody, but then and now this line is equally ridiculous. So I actually agree. I mean it's two
Yeah,
and a
Gabriel, by the
half.
way,
It might get to three.
36.7. Gabriel, what'd you say?
You think it? I mean, it might get to three with the narrative, like the
Nah, I
narrative.
won't get the
You don't
three.
think so? I
No,
would.
not with a total.
Yeah, I mean, not with a one minus. Yeah, I mean, but yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
Uh, Bottom five quarterback success rate. You got Tua, 43%, Knicks, 42.5%, Russ, 41.5%, Ward, 40.1%, Gabriel. 36.7%. Like
Terrible.
significantly worse than the rest of that bottom five group.
Lowest completion rate over expected of 35
Yeah,
qualifiers.
he's been.
And he's only a 6'8". I have the worst completion percentage of expectation when you're freaking dinking and dunking on. Like, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And by the way,
But
the Jets defense, not as bad as their numbers. Now they traded away Williams and
yeah, it
Gardner, so they're
probably
going to get
is.
worse. They're
It
going to get
probably is.
worse.
Yeah.
But the reason that they've been worse than their numbers, like their success rates are good, their
Turnover
EPA is
what?
bad. They give up explosives, they don't tackle, but
No turnovers.
they've got no turnovers. So if I had a bet without Sauce Gardner against Dylan Gabriel, this is probably when they get their first interception. And that's basically what this game's going to come down to. Some stupid turnovers.
Is Judkins even healthy? Like, is he?
No, I think he's going to
He's
play, but he's got a shoulder injury, so and that's their entire offense.
big drop off. Yeah, with the other. I mean, Ford is a jag, and Sampson really hasn't lived up to expectation in the run game. He's had that one game where he was catching a lot of passes, but they've hesitated to use him, which tells me that like the difference between those guys in practice is probably uh even more drastic than we see on Sundays. So yeah,
Yeah,
this
Judkins not listening. He's going to play.
okay.
Bond and Schweschinger probably don't play for what it's worth.
My guy Gage Larvadan though, Tillman might be back for the Browns. I
Tillman,
don't
I
know.
think, should be back.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted to see more Larvadan. He was balling in the preseason. All right. So we got Jets plus 114. I'm gonna roll with the Pittsburgh. I like the Jets too, but I'm gonna roll with the Pittsburgh Steelers here at plus 140. Uh there's a lot of options this week. I think there's a lot of live dogs, but the Steelers, this is the kind of the spot that I want them again. I know they came off two straight Tomlin spots at home. They won one of them, lost one of them, but the Chargers, like this offense is just so touch and go. The Steelers, I mean, being able to shut down the Colts like that is, it provides some hope because we knew the talent was there.
They did some of the things I talked about
Yeah.
last week.
Yep.
They went more too high. They
Yes.
moved Ramsey to safety.
Key. Yeah.
And a lot of those things helped. I think the biggest your case here is that if you look on off splits with Joe Alt, the Chargers are basically like a top five offense. And these sample sizes, it's probably not this drastic, but the numbers say this. They're a top five offense with him and a bottom five offense without him. It's the drop off and the trickle down effect on that offensive line is massive. And the Steelers obviously have edge rushers who can take advantage. And like, so that could
Yeah.
ruin it. You could have, just like last week, Watt, Highsmith, force some turnovers, some strips that could change this game. But because the Alt injury is just a devastating blow. Right?
Yeah. And then you got Rodgers indoors. You got Austin. So you got like decent receiving core. They're using Warren more. Like I think the Steelers are just kind of rounding into shape. And they do have a lot of talent. Like, remember, this was a team that we might have laughed at them and thought they were like, oh, it's another 8-8, 9-8 kind of team. But they were thinking Super Bowl or bust. That's why they kind of went all in and they're aggressive in the trade market. So the talent is there. And this Charger team, they were running the ball better with Vidal than Hampton for a couple games. But then lo and behold, they go against the Titans who can't stop anyone on the ground. And they get stopped. And so it just kind of increases the variance. And I think that's what you want when, the Chargers getting a lot of respect here. I think this, not really much home field advantage. I think
they have more
indoors
Steelers fans there.
Yeah. And it benefits Rodgers to be indoors at this point in his career. And yeah, the offensive, and that's not even the only offense. Like I saw Becton on the injury report. Like there's just this Charger O-line is just
shambles.
In shit, and you trade for a guy on the Saints, it's it could get ugly here. So the Chargers, this could, what was it? What was it, like week 4? I think they were favorites against the Colts, and they ended up getting blown out by like 2-3 scores. Like I could see that happening. I mean, the Steelers also beat the Colts by, what is it? Was it multiple scores? Yeah, right. Yeah,
Colts scored a couple late, but
oh yeah. Oh no, so it was one score, but sorry, it felt like multiple scores most of that game. It was, but Steelers still kind of have some unrealized upside on both sides of the ball. I mean, last week, they only gained 225 yards and they were just dominating. But I think there hasn't really been a game where their offense and defense has both been in sync. I think the talent is there. So yeah, give me the Steelers at plus 140. You parlay Steelers and Jets plus 114 and plus 140. You get plus 413. Now it's time for our anytime touchdown parlay presented by DraftKings. Stuck, you've been hot on these two. Where are you going for week 10?
Let's go with Isaiah Likely. I think he's got good matchup here, and I think you're getting some value here because Andrew scored 2 touchdowns. But from everything I'm hearing, Likely's going to be the more featured tight end in the passing attack moving forward. Vikings blitz happy. I think there's going to be some opportunities for Lamar to get the ball out to him if they're in the red zone, and I think Likely's going to have a big second half of the year.
Okay, that's actually a good little tidbit because so right now I have for route participation, I have Andrews 67.5%, Likely 67.5%, Toller 15%. Does that sound about right?
I think Andrews is probably going to go down a little bit, and Likely's going to go up a little.
Okay.
Andrews also blocks better, pass blocking.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, not Likely's specialty. So yeah, I would probably lower Andrews and raise Likely a bit from what I'm hearing.
Okay. Because yeah, it was 85% the game before the bye for Likely, and then it went to 60% and 48, but that was a blowout. But yeah, his pass snaps 80, 88, 70, 55 over the last three. That's 71%. And he's usually not going to block at all. So you could get above 70 and Andrews will be, like 70, 60, I could see, or something like that. But that would make a big difference in Likely's projection more so than Andrews. So yeah, that's a good call. I am going to go with, it might be a little bit of a contrarian play, but I think it's certainly doable regardless of the situation. Jameson Williams plus 175. Now, a couple of things work in JMO's favor here, even though Detroit might not have any offensive line. First thing is the coordinator came out and said, I have failed him. Like, he's the guy that I'm sick about. Like, I need to get him into the end zone. I need to get him more targets. That usually means you're gonna have a squeaky wheel situation. Now, yes, Detroit decimated on the offensive line, but they're going against Washington. Like, Washington is a terrible defense.
They're going to score.
And Washington just put Marshawn Lattimore, who they thought was their top corner. I don't know, he was definitely not anything close to it. But does that mean now they dedicate more resources to slowing down Amon-Ra? They still play a lot of single high. That helps JMO, and they play man coverage. So JMO's going to have opportunities, and I think the Commanders are the right side of the bet. That means the Lions probably going to be in more trailing game script or neutral game script than they've been. They've still been very good most of the year. So all of these things just help JMO, who, we could be kind of at the bottom of his market with, him just having multiple duds, like just ugly, like, no catches, one catch type of games. But I will say, I bet this already. I would wait. There's a chance his odds could go even higher because what's going to happen is this spread could come down. So that would shift more of even if the total stays the same, that would shift more of the scoring to Washington's side and make the odds longer for some of the Detroit players. So there's a chance we could get back into the plus 200 range, but I think this is you got to kind of pick your spots with JMO, and this just screams JMO touchdown, passing touchdown, even though, and because everyone's kind of down on Goff outdoors, but the Commanders still 19 passing touchdowns allowed, just 7 rushing touchdowns. That's one of the highest passing to rushing ratios in the league. So yeah, give me JMO at plus 175 on DraftKings. Likely is plus 280. The parlay together with Likely and JMO plus 945. So about 9.5 to 1. That was our anytime touchdown parlay presented by DraftKings. All right, Stuck. Any games we didn't hit
Yeah,
on?
quickly. Uh, Panthers Saints. I mean, Panthers 0-10 against the spread. It's favorite last 10 games. Can I lay 5.5? I don't. I mean, what are the Saints could be able to
Probably.
do? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Panthers or nothing there. Um, but who? I mean, that game
They're
is
at
all.
home though. They're at home. They've been kind of Jekyll and Hyde. So I thought that was probably the Panthers' most impressive win. Last week in a while, just because they're usually terrible on the road, and they just said, "Hey, fuck it." We gave Hubbard a big contract. Dowdle's been the much better player. Turn the game over to him, and he just took him to the promised land. And their defense hung in there. That we like the coordinator, and the talent is still not great, but it's trending up. I think on both
Yep.
sides of the ball. Young is
Yeah.
playing better too. So
And the Saints are just a mess.
yeah,
And Bills Dolphins. It's hard to see the Bills not blowing out the Dolphins, but it's not a great spot. You're
could be an
playing
under.
premium.
Could be an under game. Like if
Yeah,
both teams want to run, but if it's like a little just Miami kind of sloggish, we've seen the Bills struggle in those spots
yeah.
before.
I mean, the Dolphins hung in there the first time around. But this who knows where this team is at mentally. But the Bills' defense is potentially trending up because of how Bishop has been playing, and Hairston could be what they really need to get over the hump with their secondary play. I thought he played outstanding, the rookie out of Kentucky last week. The last one, really interesting one. So I played the Falcons. I played some 6.5 early in the week, and I really shouldn't have.
Yeah.
I should never play early in the week during trade deadline, but I didn't think either one of these teams is going to make a huge splash. I was wrong. So it's a really tricky one. Everything went against me here. I don't love it as much now. I just got to hope that it's a Daniel Jones pumpkin game. Falcons should be healthier on defense. Um, like I think Harrison's going to be back, Bowman's going to be back. Everyone else should be playing this week. And when their defense is healthy, they can get pressure. There's two major problems
O
here.
line.
The O line, both because I thought like I didn't think Bergeron and Lindstrom would both be out, and it looks like they might both be out, which is devastating. They have no depth
International
there.
game. Yeah, yeah. It's hard to like those big guys on those long trips if you're hurt. It's just
Yeah.
it's yeah.
So their offensive line is they're already down McGarry at the right tackle spot.
Yeah.
So their offensive line is in shambles. That's not great. You also have Sauce Gardner. How much is he going to play?
It,
Like I think he's going to start, but is he like how up to speed is he? Is he going to just get some packages? Because having him for London is obviously huge.
isn't he in the
Uh,
protocol? Like, or is he
yeah, but
out
I
of
think
it?
he'll
I saw he
clear. Like
practiced.
yeah, he
Yeah.
practiced today, so he should be good.
Okay.
But I don't know how many snaps he's going to get. And then the other thing, the Falcons, like their biggest weakness on defense, like they can get pressure now. Their pass D's really good. They don't allow explosive passing plays, but they can be run on. Patriots can't run the ball, right? That was one of the reasons I liked the
uh,
Falcons last week. Steichen talked about how they didn't give the ball to Taylor enough last week.
blow up game.
So I feel that like Taylor's just going to run all over them. And then this is when you really miss Diablo. Um, so I don't love it as much.
Well, I
So
mean,
I played it. I have a bet on it. I'll maybe try to get out of it if Falcons start hot. My numbers still say the Falcons are the play.
yeah, it's
So
so you got some things potentially also working in your favor. I don't now it's Wednesday, so keep that in mind. But Michael Pittman DNP with a lower body. I did, and then Ebukam, MCL, DNP, Buckner. So I don't know if they're just resting like their best guys. I got to go back and look at, but Kenny Moore. Like it seems like they're just giving like all their best players the Wednesday off. But Pittman would be a big loss and make them a little more one dimensional and be easier to defend in the pass game. He's been kind of banged up on and off, so that's something to watch. But yeah, it probably is nothing. And then Sauce there with so it's probably just injury report shenanigans. They could go into the game like entirely healthy as well. So that wouldn't be ideal. But just
yeah, if
just
you haven't played this
yeah,
yet, I wouldn't play it now. But
it
I
probably
haven't.
gets to like seven and
Yeah,
a
if it
half
gets
if
to
everyone's
7, then
healthy,
it's a play
right?
regardless.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
I
this
mean, I
was
just
trending. This was trending to like 5.5, and then the Gardner news, and then the Falcons offensive line news. Uh, Everything went against the Falcons this week. And then matchup wise, it's not as good as last week because the Colts can run the ball. They've been talking about it, but this is like the conditions here could slow up the Colts offense a bit. Grass field, right? And like They've been playing, and last week their offense didn't do anything. But Daniel Jones could also just pumpkin this game away, so that could happen.
Yeah, and it's just the thing about the grass field. Like, how do you think that impacts the Falcons' offense? Because it's tough because they've been better at home, especially with Penix, indoors and the track. But this is not like a true road game, but it is a road game. It's just not in the home field of the opponent. Like, any thoughts on the Falcons' offense in this spot?
I have no idea. I have no idea what the like because of the offensive line. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like if
yeah.
they're, I don't know how they now the Colts don't get elite pressure, but are they going to be able to here? I don't know what their approach is going to be.
They could blitz more with Gardner back there too. So yeah, I see what you mean. It's like on a slippery slope, but that could mean the line just goes up and it's still a play. So
Tevin is a play,
yeah,
regardless. But I wouldn't have played what I played, obviously, now. Like, because Gardner could, but there's also the Gardner uncertainty. Like, does he play the whole game? Is there like a blown, does he like blow some assignments because he's not like in tune with the calls? And uh, I don't know. I mean, anyone who says Gardner is not elite is crazy. He guards the number one every week and is like allowing the, he forces the highest tight throw rate in the league. Um, it's him and Sertan are I think the two best. So it's obviously a huge upgrade for that. Because one of the reasons I also play the Falcons is everyone's back on the Falcons receiving core, and there's no Ward who's been so good, and the Colts have been deficient on the back end because of that on the outside. But now you add Gardner, it's a big difference.
yeah, huge difference. I mean, Drake
Yeah,
London, it was the entire offense like
yeah.
last game.
Now he
Bijan's,
could still go off. I mean, he went off against Gonzalez,
yeah,
but this is a much tougher task. And then the Falcons aren't like a tight end heavy team. And
they
that's how you
can
want to.
be,
Yeah,
they
I think
can
that's what
be.
they have to do here. Like you got to use like Werner more, um, because
I don't think Michael Penix is that advanced to get to the Warner portion of the progression. Like, does he have a target this year?
I don't
Let's
know, but
see.
like because the Colts cannot. I said this last week. The Colts can't defend tight ends. What did the Steelers do all day? They just threw to all their tight ends. What did all their tight ends have like 18 targets?
Yeah, it's like and then the Rams last week was like it's been just like some of the craziest shit tight end wise all century with the amount of tight ends. I'm interested in let's see what Warner's touchdown anytime is. It's 10-1. The books are that's kind of sharp. Yeah, okay. We don't want that. But no, you're right. The Falcons have 4 tight ends active every week. Every week. It
Oh, they have your guy Quatoriano or whatever.
Keegan Quatoriano, who I believe caught a touchdown in his first NFL reception. I don't know if he's made a catch since. And Felipe Franks, the former
Extra
quarterback, who
quarterback.
yeah,
These aren't
you
very
see
good tight ends though. This isn't like the Steelers.
your favorite preseason quarterback's favorite preseason quarterback,
But
Felipe
that's what they
Franks.
should do. They should go more tight end heavy here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the
And it'll help with
other
the
non-London
blocking.
receivers are already invisible, like David Sills, cardio king, Mooney, cardio king. Yeah, they should just or Bijan and Algier just do it that way. But then they call the worst place for Algier when they try to do the 2 back thing. It's like, oh, obvious run situation. Let's hand it to Algier straight up the middle. Like, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
enough,
the
enough.
Falcons could get blown out here, so
Uh, yeah,
hopefully Jones has a pumpkin game.
all right, that is now going to do it for Week 10 Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. Be sure to check out Stucky on the favorites, big bets on campus as well. If you're on X, check out @Playbook. It's an AI chatbot that can build you bet slips at the sportsbook of your choice. I'm at Chris Raybon. Stuck is at Stucky2. We're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action and Network app. Go download it. Until next week, let's get this money.